Welcome to the Pure Energy Healing Academy. Welcome to Bajerski YouTube channel. Tonight we're going to talk, because it is night, it's very beautiful actually. The clouds, which are natural, are in the sky. It's gorgeous. Yeah, there's just some nights where the colours are just so beautiful. So I'm taking this opportunity to make a kind of self-help video with regards to emotion, trauma, deep trauma. Sorry, I've just eaten some food. Sorry, I'm such a scruff. As of late, I don't care anymore. Probably a good healing process. What do you mean? Well, when you don't care, it means that you're not on a stress level or a worry level of what people think about you. I couldn't give a damn what people think about me. Of course it hurts when people say stuff, but they ain't going to change the way I am. This is me. However, there is something in that. If somebody keeps repeating the same thing, and then somebody else does, and it's the same thing, and then somebody else does. If there's 10 or 20 people repeating things to you, sometimes we must take notice of these things. And, you know, if somebody said, look, Mark, you're a lovely guy, but sometimes you can come across in this way. If so many people say it, look at yourself, see, well, am I upsetting people? Is this about them reacting because they've got issues? Or, you know, it's a bit like, I often say, look, if somebody hits you over the head with a hammer, right, then there's an issue. But when it's about emotions and we're feeling bad because somebody said something bad, we have to become stronger than that, because if we don't, we'll end up being a wreck and we'll end up being a slave to other people's weaknesses mostly. But there's nothing wrong with criticism in a way that tries to help you. It's just most people don't know how to put something across. What makes a brilliant healer and a brilliant worker in the spiritual field is a way that we come across to a client that doesn't make them feel bad or feel as if we're talking about them, rather than them thinking, oh, I'm a little bit like that. And I think we all probably prefer that. There's a story about this person that happened to them and what they did. Oh, I can be a bit like that, rather than, did you know you're a bit like this, and da-da-da, right? You understand what I mean? So I think it's a really interesting time right now, because we're coming to a point where most kids growing up are offended by anything. And there was something said many years ago that we're bringing children into this world and they're too soft. And here's the result of that, being offended. And it's an interesting topic, because there's different types of being offended, but all seems to hurt people in their own way. So what offends you might not offend somebody else. And when you go, well, that didn't offend me, it might really offend somebody else because of how they were brought up and their belief system and their programming. It's as simple as that. So I'm offended sometimes by certain things, and but that's my prerogative, that's my right. I want to be offended. Don't ever take that away. I don't want to live in a world where nobody's offended, or else we don't grow. How do we grow if we're not offended? Because when we're offended, we can look at ourselves and see, well, why am I offended? What's wrong with, what's going on with me to be offended? But most people don't look at themselves. You know, Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror, and it's so true. You've got to start with you. You've got to look at yourself. So when I first started this field of work, I found I was getting offended by the spiritual community, who were spending most of their time pointing fingers at me because I was working and I was becoming very successful. And I couldn't understand how the spiritual community can get together and start bullying individuals. And then I realized they're not a spiritual community at all. And this is going to probably upset you. Um, I would say 99% of those spiritual groups are nothing more than people who pretend to be spiritual, and they're not spiritual at all. And I think a few of you might have got that by now. So, of course, at the very beginning, when I went to places and realized that, doing the shows, being invited to special nights where mediums and clairvoyants and psychics were, I realized that I was being attacked. And I thought to myself, I've been in many different fields of work over a lifetime, and never have I come across a field of work so bitchy and aggressive and jealous and the hatred within them. And I like it really almost made me stop doing this field of work. But I realized that these people are really lost and they're not really genuine. And it's very easy to call yourself all of the above. But are you really what you say you are? Predominantly, they're not. Predominantly, they're not. Do you know, on a side note, I was driving my car today. Was it today? Oh, it might have been yesterday. Yesterday, gosh, things are happening so fast at the moment. And as I'm driving, I see an eagle. And there's 3 cars in front of me. And the eagle's flying towards the cars. And it swooped down right next to my car and flew alongside me and then flew off again. That was really fascinating. So that was like mind-blowing. And then the other day, for the farm, we got a Japanese chicken. The small and the white. And because the older ones moved into the light, as unfortunately they would do, the older they get, they pass. We just got our 2 chickens that we raised from babies, Braveheart and Happy. The other one got taken away by an eagle, unfortunately. So we brought this little white one in, and we realise now that they're both males, and they're flapping around this white cock. That's a cock as well. So they're all males. We found out they're all males because they're all cockle-doodle-doing now. And it was fascinating. It was like serenity. After about a couple of hours, they all got on so well with each other. And then some like pheasants, little tiny pheasants, came into the farm and started right next to me eating. Like, hang on a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Why would they even be anywhere near? These are wild birds, and they're right next to me. Big, chubby white birds, they're like grouse, little grouse. And I'm like, some strange things happening. But that's the power of spirit. That's the power of the spirit world and the ways we can interpret as the old wise shamans used to. Yeah, so it's been a fascinating week, 2 weeks actually. And the learning process right now of what I'm seeing in the field of work of, let's say, the spiritual movement makes me want to move as far away from the spiritual movement as possible. There's so many crazy things happening. Very interesting at the moment of what people are trying to attract in their life and trying to create in their life. And I often wonder to myself, are they trying to create that because they just want to be known, famous? And most of the time that's a yes. You know, when you are really walking a path of spirituality, it's more about the journey of learning within. It's about helping and giving and caring. If it's about creating content to be famous and all of those things, then there's a void inside that you're trying to fill. And we can see it more and more. I don't know if you're seeing this at the moment, but there's so many new people trying to create content, and it's becoming so it's almost like a loony bin. The most craziest things are being put out there, and some really bizarre things being said. The most complicated, bizarre things. And I always say, if it's complicated, then normally it's not true. Things should be very simple and should flow and sit very comfortable in, if it's truth. Not always, but predominantly it's a good foundation to base your learning, because you are learning. We're all learning. We listen to each other, and there's been many a times I've watched somebody that I've never seen before, and it's resonated so profoundly. And not because I agree, but because it makes sense and it feels right. But there are so many new healers, psychics, mediums, and the things that are happening, what I'm seeing is jaw-dropping. It's like, I just can't believe people would stoop to certain levels to create something that... Are people really going to believe this? Are people going to buy into this? And surely they do. Surely they do. Why, Mark? Because they like entertainment, they like shock energy, they like fear, they like all of this kind of stuff, low frequency. Very few people actually love the energy of happiness and joy. Very few. They're more comfortable in the fear, in the anger, in the sadness. And it's an interesting topic when you start delving into detail. I remember being at a show, and I did a lot of shows, and I don't know if I've ever told this story, but yeah, it was quite shocking to see how certain people would bully their clients into believing. It's like being in a playground, really. If there's a big guy in the playground and he looks angry, if he speaks to you, you're not going to disagree with him, right? Well, this woman was very, very much the same. And if somebody would disagree with what this woman was saying, she would get so aggressive and fire back at them with her anger and her energy. And I realised that, Mark, you've got to let that go. Leave people to experience what they need to experience. And all you can do is your best. And then from that experience to the experience with me or another lady and somebody else, they can then make their judgment and their truth from within. And often did that happen, you know, that I would be in my healing room and people would come and be in trauma, deep trauma, because somebody on the coast had told them that they would be dead in 7 years or 10 years, or that something was dreadful was going to happen to their child, and it was, you know, it was a challenge to clear that trauma from them, because it's easy to traumatize somebody with lies and manipulations and to steal their energy. And I always found it interesting that that person always finished on a note that I can help clear this, and if you come back another 6 times or 8 times or 15 times, then we can clear that from your life and your child will be fine and you won't die. And it's like that I mean, doesn't that ring alarm bells? You know, it's obviously the biggest con. And there's so many people in every industry where we are conned by people who claim to be something that they're not. And it's an interesting life that we all lead, that you sometimes become a little bitter to people, and it's so easy for me to understand how we have all become very reluctant to really truly, the 1% anyway, to believe anything. And you know, we have our parasite governments telling us that we need to do something, and we see now clearly that everything that they say and do is a lie, and yet most people still follow them. If you ask an individual, do you believe that MP, they'd laugh and say, no, I don't believe a word he's saying. So then why do you follow the government protocol if you don't believe him? So you can see it's easy to manipulate most people, but the 1%, those who listen to their inner intuition far more than what somebody tells them to run down this path, go there, go into that building and do what you're told. No, I don't think so, pal. No, I don't think I'm going to go that way. So some of us used to, I'll give you a great example. Some of us used to get into a coach, and then there'd be a woman or a man asking you all to come out and follow her, and I would say, hang on a minute, why follow you? She said, well, because I'm the guide. And I said, well, I don't want a guide. I want to go around the village, or I want to go around the mountains and feel it. What time do you finish? And she'd get really angry. She'd say, no, you have to stay with me. I was, no, I don't. Nobody told me I needed to stay with the guide. I booked this trip to come to a village to look around for 2 hours. I'll be back in 2 hours. And I'd walk off. And I'd be like, don't tell me where I should go and listen to you. Nobody told me that. This isn't a guided tour. This was a bus trip here. And people would like be in shock. Oh, you know, like, and then they'd all follow her and have the crappiest time. And then I'd come back with a big smile on my face saying, hey, I went here, I went there, and everybody was saying, tell me about it. Oh, we only went to here in a rug shop. They were showing us rugs, and then we went to this gift shop because they were trying to sell us gifts there, and she took us here because she was trying to sell this. I said, exactly. I went everywhere else where it was absolutely amazing, and then they'd be all upset, right? You've done that. You probably understand that. So I've always been like that in my life. Don't ever tell me what to do. I won't have it. Don't tell me what to do. No. As soon as you tell me what to do, I'm out of the door. But there is a way where we say, look, guys, you can get off and go where you want, enjoy yourself, or you can come with me. I'm going to take you to a couple of souvenir stores that give us good discount, and it's up to you whether you want something. I'll take you here, there. So the choice is yours. I'll give you a breakdown of what the village is. I'll tell you a few things about the village that you might not know, that you wouldn't do if you went around. And then, you know, it's up to you. You can break off at any time, go anywhere you want, as long as you're back here at 2 o'clock. Now, to me, that is a guide, giving you the truth, saying, do what you want. It's up to you, but I'm here if you need me. And so I'd take more notice of that. I'd listen to that and say, okay, well, that makes sense. No, I think I'll still go off and do what I want to do. Why? Because I like to be pulled by spirit and guided to certain places. I'll give you a great example of that. I was on a bike with somebody that I cared for a long time ago in Palo, and still do. And we were on that bike, and this person kept saying, where we're going? And I'm saying, I don't know. That's the exciting part. Can you not get that? And this person couldn't get it. They just couldn't get it. They were getting frustrated. They were getting upset because they didn't have a plan. They didn't know where they were going. And it was like, please just let Palo take us to where we need to be. So you could see this person was really frustrated. I could feel it. And they were getting more and more upset. Anyway, I didn't listen. I'm just following spirit. And look, if you want to come on the back of the bike with me, that's fine. But don't tell me what I should and shouldn't do, right? I am following the guidance of Palo. Palo, beating heart, will take me to where I need to be. So after about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, we pulled down this road, and then we came to all these this forest, and then there was a sign saying Pura temple. I thought, okay, this is where we're going then. But I didn't pull into the temple because I missed it, and I went down another side road, turned again, and then ended up at a dead end. Stopped the bike, got off it. This person's saying, what we doing? Then all of a sudden, two people come up from these stairs, and they're holding ceremonial robes. And I smiled, and they said, oh, there's a blessing down here. I went, oh, thank you. So I looked and smiled. This person's still outraged. And I said, look, we walked down the stairs, we walked around, and the most beautiful sight you've ever seen. There was a healer with the bell and all the stuff that he was doing. There was 8 people sat down, and he was just about to do the second blessing. They all looked at both of us, invited us to sit with them. So we did the water. I don't know if you've ever done it. You take the water 3 times. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a blessing for the local people. The other temple that we didn't go to and pass by was for hundreds of thousands of people to go there. And it was so special. It was so authentic. It was so raw. It was so genuine. It was so pure that my friend started crying, right? When we'd finished, they were thankful and we were thankful. And we went back up and I said, do you see how ballet pulls us to the right place? And even after that beautiful moment, my friend could not put the pieces together and couldn't understand how the universe had brought us to the most sacred place for a blessing by a genuine loving healer. And the people who were there were from that village, and they were beautiful, beautiful souls. And how the synchronicity of how spirit gently leads us to where we need to be. If you look at that, sorry, I've got hiccups. If you look at that just alone, and you put the pieces together and realize that most of us rush at planning. Most of us have to have a plan. We have to know where we're going and what we're doing. I would say to that, could it be, is it possible that you are actually stopping your spiritual journey by saying you're going to do this and this is what we're going to. What about, there's no room for maneuver, there's no room for, we're being pulled this way. Yeah, but we're going there. Yeah, I know we are, but something's pulling us this way. We're going in the wrong direction. We're going in the wrong direction. Everything's wrong now. No, it's not. Maybe we're going in the right direction. Tracy, Sharon, I haven't seen you for a while. But just relax, love. It's okay. Because maybe where we're going there might be a most amazing moment of your life. Instead of queuing for 2 hours to get a blessing there, you've got everything here and with nobody hardly around, and you're getting such an intimate moment that doesn't normally happen there, and it only happens once every month, which is true. They told us while we were going, this only happens once a month. You came at the right moment. I recognized this at the beginning of my journey of becoming a healer. And it happened here in the mountains. And I have to say, my first mentor also knew what was happening. I wrote it in my first book, Diary of an Accidental Psychic. I looked up at from the bottom of Fuengirola, and the Buddhist temple has a gold top on, and I could see the gold and it glimmered, and it's right down there. And I just said, isn't that beautiful? Anyway, then I said, I don't know why, but I just want to go. I want to go back home now. I want to go back to to my reading room. I said, I don't know why, but I don't think I can concentrate on what we were concentrating on. And she was fine, let's go. So I'm coming back up the mountain, and I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry, I took a wrong turn. Oh, no problem. Oh, I'm sorry, I took another wrong turn. Oh, sorry, I took what is wrong with me? So as I'm driving, I find out that I'm ending up at the Buddhist temple at the very moment that 3 lamas were there giving a blessing. And she said to me when we got out, as soon as we got to one of the Buddhist monks, he said, it starts in a few minutes. Please park your car. And she said to me, you know that we've been led here, don't you? And I'm like, wow, my God. You know, I've tried with all my heart to share with my friends, with people that come to learn and understand about spirituality. And I talk about it in the simplistic terms as the flow. And the flow is the most important thing to be able to be led to where you need to be. Now, there is something about getting up off your backside and flowing, because flow doesn't come when you do nothing. So following, doing something, and always in the back of your heart, you're in the back of you're in your consciousness, not in your mind, but just being aware that at any given moment, that spirit can just nudge you in a different direction. And this comes with emotion as well. Don't ever forget that, because you can be creating something and spirit can nudge you in a different creative mode. And if you can follow this flow, both mind, body and spirit, you'll find that your life becomes more magical. It becomes more healing. You'll find that you won't feel stress. You'll be able to sleep better on a night. You'll be able to live a healthier life. And there is something about this magic, this moment when it can just happen at any given moment, where an eagle can fly right next to you, where little birds can just come near you. All of these things are signs. Now, nobody's asking you to answer that sign. Nobody's saying, okay, work this out. You don't need to work it out. It will be what it will be when it's meant to be, because everything is energy. So if a bird's coming near you, it's energy. If an eagle comes next to you, it's energy. And it all works itself out. These are signs that should give you the encouragement to flow, to always remember that if it's your moment, it will be. You will be called. You will be asked to help. And all of these things that may sound complicated are actually so simplistic. Mark, when do I heal somebody? When you're meant to heal them. Yeah, but I need to heal them now. No, you're doing the same thing as the person on the back of my car. Relax. It's all as it should be. When it's meant to be, Spirit will find the person for them to come to you, and then you will give them a healing when you are ready. Well, I haven't had a client. Well, that's probably because you've not been working on yourself and giving yourself meditation and just being in the moment of relaxation. If you're worried thinking about clients, oh, what am I going to do? It's like, I spoke about this the other day. There was days when I would do shows all over the Costa del Sol, and there was days where I'm sat there and not one single person would come for a session. Now, anybody else would like, oh, everything's going wrong. It cost me so much money to be here. This is terrible. I'm like, well, I must have needed the meditation. And trust me, in that time I was meditating all the way through the day. And people were saying, oh, it's quiet, isn't it? But everybody was panicking. And I'm like, well, maybe we need to meditate. Maybe we need to find some peace and happiness. And maybe there's something happening that we might get. But let's not worry about it, because it's all as it should be. After that, 2 days later, 3 days later, 4 days later, I was getting phone calls from people who came to that show but were reluctant to have a session, a healing session, but they felt that they would like a healing session and like to come privately to my healing room. So I got about 10 clients from just sitting there and just meditating. But everybody else is like living in fear and anger. Whereas I realized that everything is as it should be. Where I am right now is where I'm meant to be. And where I'll be taken to is exactly where I'm going. When Spirit needs me, they'll call. And I will just get up off my bum and just enjoy my life and do my best and be as kind as I can and caring as I can. And let the universe help me and guide me in the sense of, this is my mentor. This is my teacher. This is my guide. This is my guru. And that is the flow of the universe, the cosmos, spirit, whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness. I don't care what you call it, but there is something that if we can learn to flow, to allow, and just to be aware and be present in that energy, you'll find that miracles happen and magic happens. Why? How did you? You're a lucky bugger, aren't you, Mark? Not really that lucky. It's just that I'm aware of things and I see opportunities, whereas the guy next to me on my motorbike saw nothing because he was so angry and so upset and so I need to do this, I need to be there, that to a degree, yes, some things like that are okay, but in my world, it doesn't sit well with me. So see you later, everybody. Hope you enjoy yourself with a guide. I'm going to explore and trust the universe to guide me where I need to be. And I've never been let down. Never been let down. So, yeah, that's my truth. I am just waiting for all the tickets to, all the rest of the tickets to come through so I can cut them all. And I will be, there's so many things happening right now. It's like in my head, I've got so many things that I need to do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. It's all as it should be. There's so many amazing things. I'm overwhelmed by everything that's happening right now. MarkBajerski.com is, you are supporting it so much. And I appreciate it. And I hope you appreciate all of the things that I'm doing for you guys right now. I'm doing it from the bottom of my heart. There's so many amazing things. So thank you so much for supporting MarkBajerski.com. Anything else? No. I just better get on with a bit of work and enjoy myself at the same time. I'm wishing you all a lovely evening. Thank you so much for listening to this little chat. Whether it's helped or not, or stirred you, or made you think a little bit, hey, who knows, you might want to spend 7 days in the energy of, I'll leave it to you guys, I'll just get up and do what I do, and I'll allow you to bring the right persons into my life, bring the right circumstances into my life, and I'll trust and I'll listen and I'll be aware whenever you try and guide me, I'll try to do that, and I will simply be in the flow. What a beautiful thing for 7 days. You'll be surprised how sickness, illness, heavy emotions disappear because it's a release. There's no more stress anymore. You're leaving it in the hands of the great universe. Oh, but that's wrong. Okay then. It's been all right for me up till now. All right, guys, take care.